Greetings everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks again so much for tuning in. I'm Simmer Chase. Today's episode number 19 of our speed builds. This one's a unique one. We have a green screen now! Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am so blessed and grateful for having the following we do. And this isn't just for me, but it's everyone. It's all about building the community and making sure that everybody has a safe space to come and be creative, enjoy, and have a laugh or two. I don't care if you're laughing at me or with me. It's all just about having fun and feeling included, and I hope you do. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as I do all the heavy lifting and we renovate a house. Today's episode is featuring a house by lilSimsie. She is an inspiration. She is creative. She is such a strong simmer. And she catalyzes me to do greatness. However, I saw this house and I was like, Fairview Manor, we could make this Brightview Manor. We could add color. We could add pizzazz. We could add brightness. We could really maximize everything the lot has to offer and more. So we have the Brightview Manor. Yes. So if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe in the links below so that we can further the cause. The links are below. And stay proud. Go out and do something magical. And let's go ahead and dive in now. Okay, so first things first, I go in and I immediately look at the house and I just feel like it's pretty dark, but it's also very traditional, like Simsified. What I mean by that is that it does really look like a house maybe from like Sims 2 or Sims 1, and I'm just like, we've got a lot more opportunity now in the development of our houses, so why not just do a little bit more? So I immediately saw it and just thought, oh my gosh, we can make this like a really fun curved sort of veranda and like a welcoming front porch that just kind of brings people right to the front door that says, hey, come in and look at the house. And then I immediately thought of the outside and the back too, and just how much there really was. It was just sort of plain Jane a little bit, and I'm somebody that really likes to play with landscaping, and like in real life I love landscaping. My house in real life is called like the hacienda, as I call it, because my husband and I, we have tons of different hostas of different varieties, and now we've got a ton of irises, and his grandma's name's Iris, so kind of like as a homage to her a little bit, we have a lot of irises. And then my grandma's name's Rose, one of my grandma's names, so we have several different rose varieties as well. So to me, it's all about making things look as natural and sort of as realistic as possible in The Sims. So when I saw this house, I really saw an opportunity to do that here. And I really wanted to kind of give it a unique design and style that you tend not to see in the gallery. And that's really what I'm about too, is just making sure that no matter what, the house that I build is memorable, and even beyond that, unforgettable. Because in real life, I kind of want that in the same way for my house that I live in. But then as I progress in my adult life and in real life, being able to sort of renovate and restore old historic sort of styled homes and have that sort of historic vibe and quality, I want to make sure that it's preserved for generations ahead of us. So you're going to see me do in future builds a lot of houses that kind of have been kit houses that may have arrived by a train car, or that may have been built by your uncle and a few family members. And I kind of want to give that vibe to this house a little bit too. So it's got more of like a craftsman style now and not so much of a colonial vibe, but more of like that design and style where it's just very inviting, wholesome, and warm, but then can really accommodate a lot of family and friends and just people and gather, because that's the exciting thing, is kind of creating that bubble around you to be able to sort of have that feeling of community, not only with yourself, but your friends and family. And they may not even be next door or in your same city or zip code or even country for that matter, but it's really the ideals and the things that really bring you together that really make a difference, and not so much about, you know, blood and relatives and all that kind of stuff, but it's really all about sharing that camaraderie and that sense of unity and togetherness that really is what I believe makes a family. And it really doesn't matter necessarily where you are, it's more about the people that you're with. So I really wanted to kind of bring that style and that design to this house and just kind of give it a feel of welcome wholesomeness. So I made it bright, I painted it yellow, I gave it like a little bit of like detail with sort of the bump in for the veranda and the porches and the deck and all of that, so that when your eye looks at it, you're seeing that, but then you're really noticing that detail and the uniqueness of the really large porch, so that you can really accommodate a lot of people, a lot of stuff, and just be able to have a very, very welcoming, exciting atmosphere to be around, because I feel like that's what really catalyzes creativity, that's what catalyzes wholesomeness, and what really catalyzes people to go on and do great things, which is kind of what I mean by being magical. So right now I'm working on kind of getting the rest of the facade together and just working on making it sort of a unique piece there on the side with the fireplace. So I did sort of these steel beams, and later on you'll see, but I end up using it as a means to be able to sort of tailor in and morph around those pillars there that I put in, so that we can run like sort of like a trellis. So then it just includes a lot of really neat landscaping, and then it'll give the ability to have vines going up the side of it to make it more realistic, which is kind of why I also did that sort of little design implant there in the middle too, because I really wanted to do some sort of inlay there to kind of give it like some extra architectural interest and detail. However, there's really not a lot of options necessarily to do that yet, and I probably could have went with some like jungle adventure sort of decal pieces or those stones, but they weren't really making sense when I was putting it together. So I ended up just going with the pillars that we have, those steel pillars, and then, you know, sort of using them as a trellis then to bring vines and stuff up the sides and plants. So now we're just coming into the inside and just kind of starting to clear out everything, doing all the demo that's necessary. I just felt like, for me, I mean, it's neat that you can create a lot of different rooms that have different sort of identities. This one didn't really have a lot of unique design and identity. The kitchen felt too small for the amount of size of the house that it was, and I felt like it wasn't really in the best, most welcoming place possible, because when you're coming into a house, you really want to be invited in. And some of that really starts from the kitchen, because that's where the good smells come from. That's where grandma can be baking the pie, or your sister, or even yourself can be over there baking or making dinner or lunch or whatever it is. And that's kind of where everyone gathers now and comes together. It's not really the living room so much as it is the kitchen, because you can really come together for a good meal. And sometimes we're so busy and everybody's so busy, but that's like the one time everyone in the family and your friends and people just really have to be able to spend that 30 minutes to an hour being together. So now it's really moving, kind of shifting from the living room to more of the kitchen. So I made sure that the kitchen in this house is memorable, and that it's definitely welcoming, and that it can really provide space for everybody, because that's really what it is in a house. Is, you know, the kitchen is really where the heart of the house is now at this point, and you really want to have your kitchen to be at least a quarter of the size of the first floor, and to be probably about 10% of the overall floor plan of the house at the minimum. So, and now with the trends, you really want to kind of have that open floor plan and open floor concept. So on the first floor, so that when, you have like little Susie and little Johnny, the little kids running around and stuff, you want to be able to watch them because, as we know in The Sims, they can make messes. If you have mods, they might catch fires. There's a variety of things that those toddlers can get into. So you definitely want to be able to monitor your kids. And so by having your open floor plan concept, you can definitely go in and watch everybody, but then stay busy and really entertain people from the kitchen as well. But then kind of keep an eye on what's going on, here, there, and everywhere within the house. So it's really important to kind of have that ability in the floor plan. And so as you're seeing here, I'm kind of coming together now with the kitchen and the design of the beginning of the house. And this house took me a little bit too because it's larger. So usually a house will take me maybe 3 to 4 hours of simming hours to put together, but this one took 8. And to give you kind of context, the largest of houses I've done have taken like 20 hours, and that was an 8-floor tower that was like over almost 2 million simoleons. I've done like 4 different sort of towers now at this point. So those are a lot of labor intensive, time consuming and thought and stuff. And I really wanted to put that much thought into this. So it ended up becoming like an 8-hour sort of, as I had time to work on this. So I've been working on it for the last week off and on, as I've had time, because in real life, I've been working on quite a few things here on my house. But then actually today it was really exciting because I got to go and dig up the some irises and different plants from our soldiers and sailors monument area and our war memorial area. I was blessed and lucky enough to be able to meet the people and the gal that manages and runs our beautiful monument, and it just really made me excited to really kind of be a part of our greater community here in the real life. And I really am excited to be able to bring that as well to The Sims, because I really want everybody to kind of have a place that you can feel included in. And maybe you're seeking a safety blanket, or maybe you just need a laugh or a smile. And that's what I hope to bring you, because, growing up as I was a kid, it was really hard. And, a lot of us, especially here in the community, we all kind of had our tough go. And I just want you to know that you weren't alone. And I grew up here in a small Midwest town here in the United States, and it was really tough. I mean, I was bullied, I was harassed, and I had so many really horrible things happen to me that would probably blow a lot of people's mind that it was even possible in a public school to have happened to them. But to me, I see it more as an opportunity to really lead and to make these videos and to really give people a sense of welcomeness. No matter who you are, where you're from, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we're all here for the same purpose. We're all here for the same cause, and we're all here to create and do great things. And so to me, it matters more than anything to be able to give someone else an outlet that doesn't have that ability to go and get a computer that can stream, or that can go and do all of these things that are required just to get on YouTube. So some people are, they're here just for the laughs, or they're here because, they're creative, or because they like The Sims, or they like streaming. But for me, it's a completely different reason, because I want to build a community that's centered more around the common goal of being able to be creative and be strong, but to own who you are and to be proud of who you are, and no matter what, to give a darn about your own self and where you are in the world, because you matter. Even if you don't think you matter, you do, because you were here, put on earth for a reason. You may not know it yet, but you have it. And no matter what, go and be the best you can be at what you're doing. And that's what my mom raised me as, was to, no matter what, I don't care if you're even cleaning toilets. As long as you're the best toilet cleaner, that's all I care about. Because it's all about putting that effort in and really to think about what you're doing and to really work on it and to get better and better. And so that's what I hope I can do for you guys, because I want to be an outlet for those that can't stand up and speak for themselves, or that can't be out there and stream on a regular, or can't be out there and do stuff like that. It's fun to be able to go and laugh about stuff, and I love, you know, like some of our streamers that we have, but I don't want to lose that common sense and common community that we have. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that they're welcome, and that everybody has a reason for being here, and that it takes a lot of different personalities and ideas to make the whole world go around, and that no matter what, we're all here together and we're all stuck in the same boat. So we might as well make it the best for everybody, because at the end of the day, we all are doing the same things. We all want the same stuff. We want to be in a healthy, happy, enjoyable world, you know? And so that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm grateful that you're watching. So thanks again so much for tuning in, guys. I'm just beyond blessed and grateful that I have the opportunity to even be on here, that I even have the opportunity in the platform of YouTube, and that I had The Sims. When I was in junior high, The Sims just came out. I was in 7th grade, going on 8th grade, and had I not had The Sims, I don't know if I would even be here. You know, like, it was that bad for me. Like, I had no outlet. I lived out in the country, and the boondocks, as they call them, or BFE, you know, and you can, you know, say the acronym in your mind, BFE. And so, you know, with that, I was kind of at the mercy of my dad and his truck. You know, he is working, you know, 12-hour days in a factory every day. He didn't want to take me anywhere. We weren't really allowed to go anywhere either, because he was kind of like an overprotective parent. So I didn't really have any friends. And then on top of that, we didn't have any money. I never wore the cool clothes or any of that. I had flood pants, or high waters, as they would call them even. And it was just so hard to make it for myself, you know, and I wasn't able to really do much else. So fortunately, you know, we had a gateway computer, and I had The Sims. And that's pretty much a lot of what I did. And I would save up and scrounge for money, and I would beg my dad, here, I'll mow this lawn, or I'll do this stuff, just so I can buy the copy of The Sims, the latest expansion pack, or whatever it was at the time, to really help make my simming experience a little bit better, because that's the only thing I had to look forward to. So as soon as like vacation came out, or as soon as hot date came out, I was like, oh, I have to get that. I'm gonna pre-order it, and I'm gonna use my dad's credit card, and I'm going to have to, you know, mow around 2 acres of pine trees, and, you know, bust my bum for like 2 weeks to make, you know, $10 a day for like, you know, 3 days across like 3 weekends, so then I could then in turn be able to get my game. And I would do that every single time, because that's all that it was for me. That's the only friend, that's the closest means that I had to really be able to become who I am now. But it was really hard. I barely even, like, you know, I was kind of thinking, I don't think it was really until freshman or sophomore year until I really started having formal, actual conversations with people, where you talk to me, I talk to you, we exchange dialogue. With me, it was more of like 1 or 2 liners back and forth, and then I was done talking. They were done talking to me, or you know, we weren't able to really, you know, sort of come together on a common topic, and we weren't really relatable to each other. So, you know, the conversation never went far. So for me, it was really hard, because the only other outlet I really had was theater later on in high school, and that was a blessing for me too. So it was either The Sims or theater in high school. In junior high, it was nothing but pure bullying, being scared of even going to the locker room. Ugh. And so to me, it was like, okay, so The Sims, what can I do to, do a little bit more here or spend a little bit more time on it? Because I didn't know what else to do. And it was so scary. And so that's kind of how I learned to socialize and interact with people, honestly. And so it was really hard for me once I got into like college and got into my early adulthood and stuff, because I didn't really know how to communicate with people. I didn't know when to shut up, or I didn't know when to talk, or I didn't know kind of the rules of etiquette of speaking to people. So it's been a journey still today for me because of that. But had I not had The Sims, I probably would have been a total introvert. Even though I wasn't born that way, I'm not that kind. But because I was kind of shushed into silence, I hadn't had much else. So I was blessed and lucky to be able to, have The Sims as an outlet, and then kind of as a way of creative expression. So it brought me into kind of the design world, and then into architecture. And I really wanted to become an architect when I was young, but I was terrible at math. Oh my gosh, terrible at math. So I was like, I could go into graphics design, and then maybe someday I could work in like architecture as a graphics designer. And that ended up sort of happening for me. So now I work for a brokerage firm, and I get to be the graphics designer. So I go and shoot photography of really amazing buildings inside and out. And I'm blessed and lucky enough to be able to make marketing materials for them and websites and whatever they need to sell and position a building, over $50 million. And it's just a blast. I'm so blessed and grateful that I have the job that I do. But now I feel like Sims are kind of coming in full circle for me, because I feel like now with all the career opportunities that I've had, I can then bring back to the Sim community and make even more realistic builds, even more interesting landscaping, and then sort of bring another layer that doesn't currently exist, not only in the gallery, but then also on YouTube and then in the community. So I'm just so grateful again that you guys tune in and watch, and that you spent this much time watching. And I'm just so lucky that I was kind of put in this place, and that things have fallen in the way that they have, so that I can really be that example and be that person for people that they need. And I feel like right now more than ever in the world, we really need more positivity, and we need more excitement. And I feel like we really need that sort of safety blanket that I had that long time ago. So I'm so glad that now we have the platform, and that we have the ability to be able to do that. And now back on the house, I'm currently working on sort of the bathrooms, getting all of my stuff together in here. So you're seeing the bathrooms coming together, and then I'm working on getting our porch good and set up. I really like the Star Wars expansion pack. It's really funny because in my eyes, because I'm a huge Star Wars fan too. I've bought the t-shirts. I've got lots of memorabilia pieces. I buy a lot of like tchotchke stuff and things here and there from The Sims, from Star Wars. And then I then just was so over the moon when they're like, oh my gosh, we have a Star Wars pack now coming. And then it came out, and people were like, meh. And that's understandable, because you either love or hate Star Wars. There's really not like so people. Like for me, I love it, but I don't know many people that are really so about it, where they're like, meh. So to me, I was really excited to be able to kind of play with objects for the first time from Star Wars. So actually in this house was the first house I've been able to build out with Star Wars pack included. So I was able to bring in some of the lighting pieces. I used the bar, because when I saw the bar, it's our first circular bar that we have. So I'm like, this is really cool, because I could pop it into our front sort of, that circular round entrance. There on the second floor, I have the Star Wars bar. And somebody would be like, oh no, I don't want that. But it's really cool, and it's very interesting and neat to be able to have that different architectural element that, again, you don't often see in the gallery or in real life. Because to me, it's all about pushing the boundaries of the game and seeing how far we can push it. I've been playing the game for 20 years, and it could get mundane if you don't, kind of do something different. And I know there's a lot of challenges where, you can, use a certain color in a room or pick two packs or any of that kind of stuff. And that's cool. But to me, it's more about beyond The Sims and playing The Sims, but what kind of impact we can make this have on our real lives too. And what kind of inspiration and design can we sort of push out and forward in real life from The Sims, and what opportunities and breadcrumbs that we can take from it. So that's kind of why you see me do what I do in the game, and then how I kind of play the game as well. So you're going to see a lot more storytelling coming from me soon too. I'm really excited to be able to, talk about that as well, but I'm definitely writing a lot of different stories and idea concepts and new challenges that I've not seen yet, because I think it's really more about being unique and different than it is doing better than somebody else's idea. Like, it's neat to take someone else's idea and kind of fluff it a little bit, or kind of put your own spin, which I do as well. But I want to go beyond that and really kind of make my own designs and challenges and things like that as well, because it's just all about being unique and really being proud of our unique community and expressing that, and not to be afraid of being unique and different. Like, so what, you don't build the same houses as me or lilSimsie or anybody else. That's good. That's what we need. There's so many cracker box houses. There's so many little square houses, and maybe you're just starting out, and that's fine. But, if you've been playing a while, take that stretch, take that leap. Even if you can't complete it, set it aside. Maybe you'll get to it later. But at least you'll have something to go back to that'll kind of spark your enthusiasm or your excitement. And that's really what means the most to me, is really kind of catalyzing in it and getting people to get excited, not only about The Sims, but about the world and life and everything. We still have so many good things going for us. So now I'm working on kind of getting our living arrangements and getting the second floor good and down pat. And I really wanted to make sure that it had a really good grand entryway, and then sort of like the way up all the way through the house, so that it just felt like it was just a good cohesive flow. So there's like yoga and there's fitness going in now. And I just have a lot of different things and elements that I wanted to bring into this house, just so it felt bright, welcoming, and exciting. And now, like, the color, and I love color. And that's the fun thing about The Sims 4, because the previous games, they just were sort of more flat and not so much focused on the details as much as we have now. So it's really cool to be able to have that opportunity to really expound upon our offerings and like what's there, but then also being able to layer objects and art and rugs, and even, like, you'll see here in a moment, but I actually, I'm getting better at layering countertops and layering sinks and things like that together, so that they look like vessels, vessel sinks and that sort of thing, because those are kind of trendy as well. So it's really all about kind of, creating it as more realistic as possible. So it took me a moment with this house, because I kept waffling on a few ideas just on like how the design approach, and then how I wanted to go about sort of brightening it up and putting my spin and design ideas into the house. So for me, it was really all about like taking the time, looking at it. So you're seeing the camera spin here and there, because I keep, looking at the house and just looking at my design concept and scheme to really kind of make sure that I'm going in the right direction and that it feels pretty cohesive for like what I wanted. And then, of course, my game crashed. So I get the whole second floor done, and then boom, crash. Non-responding. Ugh, dang it. So fortunately I was recording it. So I ended up going and taking my cell phone and playing back the video from my computer, and then using my cell phone to grab still images, photos real fast of the rooms that I wanted to go back and replicate. So that's why you're seeing like a little bit of funkiness when it comes to the design when I'm working on the second floor, because, and like me pausing for a moment, because I'm actually going through and minimizing and maximizing to go back to that video clip there for a moment. And then from there, that's when I like had the idea of just going ahead and just screenshotting it from my cell phone so that it was easier to go to. Because I was like, how am I gonna make this all over again and go back and redo a whole hour's worth of build, which is what it took for that whole first or second floor, and even had started some of the third floor. And then the ironic thing is I was getting ready to put the last like decor object in the last bathroom after I had completed the bedrooms and everything. And so that's why like in this house, I'm kind of like on this floor, I'm kind of breaking the rules that I have for myself when it comes to building, because I usually like to go and put all the toilets at the same time and then all the sinks at the same time so that I don't forget anything. So then I go and do like all the towels, all the robes, all at the same time. But unfortunately, like that very end, when I tried to put in the last robe in the last bathroom, something about the robe in black or something just made it whoop, go totally out. So what I ended up doing, was then just kind of playing back and then, doing the shots and that kind of stuff. So that's why I end up building each room individually so that I didn't forget about anything, because I really liked how my design had ended up coming out. And I was trying desperately, and like on Google or like Bing is what I use, but I was on there just like crazily like looking for a way to salvage my build, because I wish it worked like some of the Steam games where it would auto backup every 15 minutes or something, because had that had happened, then it probably wouldn't have like got totally lost. So I ended up going in and just having to Control-Alt-Delete it and ending task, because it was non-responsive, and I was just super bummed. I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this is even happening in 2020, and I don't have any mods going, I don't have any CC going, my computer is phenomenal to be able to run this game, so I was a little bummed, super bummed, but I recovered from it. Sometimes it's good just to take a quick break, go and do whatever you need to do to decompress a little bit and then come back to it. So that's what I did, to be able to kind of make it work again. So that's why you're seeing like these robes and stuff. That's what I was talking about with, I was placing the last robe. So this is very much on the mark of what I had originally created, but that's why I'm like sitting here like adding and deleting, because I kept like going back to that original design that I had, and then being like, oh no, actually I picked the different lighting, or I picked a different fixture and I like that one better. Or, I kind of take a step back and look at it and I'm like, oh, this doesn't look quite like what I did before. What's different? And so then that's when I was like, oh, I need these elements, or I need to take this and do something with it. So that's why like with some of the wallpapers kind of switch a little bit here towards like the end of this floor. And this is also where I'd used a lot of the Star Wars stuff too, because I really love the lights. So the kitchen has some Star Wars lighting, the porch has, the upstairs like terrace has that bar, and then the back porch has lighting, and then there's just all different kinds of Star Wars lighting that I put throughout, because I just really like those fixtures, and they remind me of like more of antiques than anything. I mean, they kind of do, they look Star Warsy to me, but they also look very antique-y and very like Victorian almost. but they just look very, very like interesting to me, and more realistic and different than what we've had before. And I don't use CC, custom content, when I build my houses, because I do want them to be accessible to as many people as possible within the gallery and the community. So now it looks like I'm getting together the rest of the space up here and getting the upper levels done. So this level was fun because I wanted it to be kind of the kids level, but I kind of wanted them to have bougie bathrooms that were super fancy. So as they get older, they have the ability to have even more sort of flexibility as it goes, because you're really not going to want to redo your bathroom for your kids every couple years. So I thought it'd be better to like make it more focused for when they're teenagers or older and grown up, and to kind of work around that when they're younger. So, you know, because the bedroom's pretty simple to kind of fix the wallpaper, clean up that stuff, but tile, oh, please don't even get me started. I've done tiling in real life, and it's okay, it's not bad, but it's not easy to go and fix and change. So I was like, let's go ahead and make this more of like a permanent thing, and then the bedrooms could sort of be tailored later on as they grow. So that's what I really wanted for this house. And then it was fun because I wanted to be able to kind of make every type of sim be able to exist in this house, because I want people to understand that they're welcome in the community and that it's all inclusive. And so I kind of wanted this house to emulate that as well. So we've got a house here that kind of covers all age groups. So you've got a nana's room, you've got the butler's room. And nana's, I mean like grandma or granny, or mama. So you've got her room that can come and help take care of the grandkids and knit, or do her own crafting or her own hobbies. And then you have the butler's bedroom, or the butler's quarters. And then you've got space for mom and dad. And then you have space for all the kids all the way up the spectrum, from like toddler, babies, all the way up. And there's a big playroom, and there's just all different kinds of stuff for kids, and just all different age groups in this house, and different sorts of walks of life, different hobbies and interests. So that it's not really a one size fits all, but it's a you're welcome here no matter what fits all. So now I'm just kind of decorating the kids' room and the area there, and I really like to play with the decals and things like that and give it that whimsy charm. It's just so much fun to be able to do the kids' rooms. I barely do kids' rooms because there's generally not a lot of space in the houses that I do, or a lot of room to be able to accommodate much stuff for the kids or pets. But this house, I really wanted to be family focused, so it's definitely got that whimsy charm. But then also does give you the ability to host kids and pets and you know, your whole spectrum of sims. So now we're just working on kind of getting the common area, or what we call the public space, there on the 3rd floor. So I really wanted to make it like fitness focused, where you could go up there and not really bother anybody, and kind of work out or not be bothered. You know, maybe like have a little family meeting as well, or be able to have fun and be creative. So there's just a lot of different activities on this floor, and a different way to kind of do things up here. So now I'm coming through and doing sort of the last of these rooms. And you know me, like I always kind of position the objects and then bring the lighting in towards the end. And I know it's a little bit hard to see at first when I throw together the design, but I don't really know where I'm going to put my lights until I put my objects, because I usually like to use sconces around bedrooms and beds and the end tables, and same with the pendant lights. But sometimes it's not really easy to tell where those are going to go until you get them in. So that's why the lighting and all that kind of stuff is done towards the end. And then this one, I wanted it to be like maybe like a twin boys. You could recolor it for girls if you want to go that way, or more of a feminine color or a masculine color, or you know, if you wanted them blue or green, or you know, that it's just this bedroom here just kind of gives you the opportunity to do a lot of different things and satisfy a lot of different groups depending on how you want to color it or stylize it. And so for me, I just kind of did sort of like gender neutral design a little bit, but where maybe, you know, two siblings could share a room together. And I tend not to do rooms like this either because, again, I don't generally have the space to accommodate for that, or like the designability and the flexibility with the design of it. But this house really had that space. So I wanted to really create like a fun room that maybe they could go and nerd out a little bit, as I call it, where, you know, you're gaming and you get to do all these fun, goofy things as a kid. And, you know, kind of have the space that I dreamed of as a child. I grew up and I had to always share with my brother. He was much younger than me, so it was a little tougher because we were huge age difference. But, you know, so we'd share a room and we had bunk beds. And for me, I always kind of dreamed of my own bedroom, so I always make sure there's plenty of bedrooms. I always dreamed of my own bathroom, so I always make sure to parity the number of bathrooms to bedrooms. There's at least gotta be the same number of bedrooms to bathrooms in a house for me. So like in real life, I moved in and there was 4 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. Now there's 4 bedrooms and going to be 4 bathrooms because I'm taking existing space, the basement, a lot of different areas, to plus the original and renovating it, but basically completely updating it to where we've got 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, because the parity, I think, is really important. So that's really what this house has too. So it's got 7 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms, but it could really accommodate even more than that. And then I also really wanted to kind of give it the space of like a glam room. So like, say, like my mom, she wasn't even really my mom. She is like my adoptive mom. My dad married her, and then she sort of like became my like my guardian, even though she wasn't like legally my mother, my adoptive mother legally here in the US, but she still took care of us, made sure we had everything we needed, always like volunteered for whatever thing we were trying to be in, whether it was my sister's cheerleading or my theater or my show choir, she would always be there. And so I feel like sometimes she probably would have been happier if she had had her own space to go and decompress and relax. So that's why I kind of created this spa room, because I felt like parents kind of need a place to go and relax, and what dad might want for relaxation might not be the same thing that mom wants for relaxation. Or if you have same-sex parents, not two people are always the same, you know? So for me, and what I find relaxing and then what my husband finds relaxing are totally different, absolutely 100% different. So, you know, I've got this sort of like mini streaming area room and like gaming room, and then there's like the spa room. But then on the other hand, out in the garage, or not the garage, but the he shed, depending on how you want to look at it, the first level is just like that really fun, like whimsy area to like do whatever you want, like creativity, crafts, candle making, woodworking, whatever you want to express your creativity. And on the second level, it's got a whole garden area for an indoor garden, so that you can do, you know, potted plants, you can do the hydroponic garden thing, and just kind of make it whatever you want it to be, and really kind of utilize all the Sims skills that they have and then build on those with this lot. So that's a lot of opportunity there, I think, as well, that you guys will enjoy and appreciate, I hope. So now I'm just kind of going through and decorating the last little bit of this upper level here, which dormers are a little bit trickier and hard because the way that the hidden walls, like the way that you hide walls and stuff, makes it a little tricky to build out dormers. So I apologize if things are a little weird to look at, but that's what I was doing there, was working on that. So now I'm just filling in the landscaping around the house. I did sort of a spin around and realized that I was still missing some landscaping here and there. So you're going to see that a couple times where I go and fill in more landscaping, because I really wanted this to feel like it was an established house that had a lot of landscaping and maybe like a matured family that had been around for a while and was growing. So that's why we have the vines coming in now that I was kind of speaking about earlier. And it's a little tricky when you're trying to build vines right on the edge of the lot, because it's wanting to like not let you do it because it's like right on the edge there. So it took a moment to get that done and to get it like legit, but that's what we have with that. And then this is where I had noticed that I was missing landscaping on the side. And again, it's like when you're at the edge of the lot, you have to make sure to do the free build mode. So you have to do bb.free build mode cheat to be able to really see that. So this is now the final spin around of the house and sort of what it looks like now. And I'm still working on getting these like kind of down pat and getting a spin around where it's like really aesthetically pleasing and nice to look at. But this is kind of what I've got today so far. But again, I'm definitely working and open to new ideas and thinking more about like what I can do to make these more realistic, as though it's like a drone flying around it. So that's kind of what I was kind of shooting for with this idea of like if you're maybe panning around with a drone and looking at it and how that would look. So I slowed it down a little bit and definitely just wanted to make sure you guys could really check and see the detail here. And all of its 4K glory, and to really kind of get a good look at sort of how the design came together. So you're getting a good look now sort of at the greenhouse and that edge, and I wanted to make sure that it was just a whole hobby house instead of just a greenhouse, or like the he shed, she shed thing. Say that 10 times fast, right? Oh, and then those vents too. I was like, ooh, the vents. I want vents on both sides, because you really need to make sure your attic is vented too. Otherwise, it's going to be like 10,000 degrees. I mean, not really, but it gets really hot, and then it could get fire-ish. So again, here's the pan around and everything, and this is now what we are working to. It's now 7 and 9. Thanks again so much, everyone. It's a Brightview Manor. Have a great day and stay proud. Go out and do something magical. And thanks again for tuning in.